All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here on the Harmless Dave channel, talking about real music and lawsuits and the end of the classic rock era as we know it, and doing what I do in real time for just a few real people like you right there and like me here. All right, so Sting has fired back at Stewart Copeland and Andy Summers. Uh, about a week or so ago, I was talking about how Andy Summers and Stewart Copeland want some money via the band's biggest song, Every Breath You Take, which many people today think is a song about stalking. We're we're living in a very interesting world today. I get it. The lyrics are kind of creepy, but when the song came out, nobody thought that. Nobody thought it. So anyway, um, Sting's lawyers argue that the frontman, born Gordon Sumner, in case you didn't know that, I love it how the classic rock world has to tell you stuff that either you already know or you really don't care about. You can just know Sting as Sting, and you're a good person. You're not a bad person for not knowing his original name is Gordon Sumner. But anyway, it says here that Sting may have actually substantially overpaid Summers and Copeland, depending on the interpretation of a 2016 agreement. Again, and I was talking about this during the whole journey back and forth between Neil Sean and John Kane, that everything has come down to money these days. And I get it. This is a big pie. It's a never ending revenue stream that will go on long after these guys are gone. So people are recognizing that and they want to make sure they're getting the most bang for their buck, so to speak. So Copeland and Summers argue in their lawsuit that Sting owes them arrangers' fees exceeding $2 million dollars for the digital exploitation of the police's back catalog. Sting's legal team fired back by saying all three musicians signed an agreement in 2016 to move past previous disputes about such arrangers' fees, and that Copeland and Summers are now trying to reinterpret that agreement. Copeland and Summers allege that in 1977, all three band members made a verbal agreement. Of course they did. Nobody, look, in 1977, they were in a rock band and they were a true partnership. And they never, for the life of themselves, thought that how many, almost 50 years later, they would be arguing about stuff that I don't even think no one could have comprehended in 1977 what this would become. But they agreed in 1977 verbally, it's not written down, so that's going to be a problem, to share 15% of publishing income from any police song they wrote with the rest of the band, not including money from sheet music sales or covers. Court documents say this agreement was formalized in 1981 and then again revised in 1997 when Copeland and Summers inquired about the original contract with the police's lawyer because they believed they had been underpaid for a considerable period. I'm thinking everybody in this band must be a multimillionaire. All right? Just putting it out there for the rest of us who, are scraping by. For guys like me who say, hey, Patreon, help me out over on Patreon. Got a new patron this week, so that was cool. Sting has remained steadfast in his insistence that he's paid his ex-bandmates fairly over the years. Doesn't it kind of sound like he's the boss? Yeah, Sting is the boss. Sting claims sole songwriting credit on all of the Police's biggest hits, which has proven an ongoing point of contention among the other bandmates. I noticed people arguing about this when they would send comments about the last video. People believe that you don't deserve any songwriting credit for the music part of a song, but I think that would be kind of backwards because I remember Don Felder arguing that, he used to be first when it came to the songwriting on the song Hotel California, and then they swapped it out and they said Henley and Fry and then Felder. But Felder, either way, got a songwriting credit. He wrote all of it, the music, that is. He composed the entire musical part. I'm thinking you deserve a songwriting credit if you compose music, but again, when people think of songwriting, they're thinking lyrics. So I get that, and that's going to be a point of contention probably forever. And when a song becomes super big, like Every Breath You Take, everybody wants a piece of the action. Lou Gramm, who didn't write anything when it came to the song I Want to Know What Love Is, has argued over the years that he deserves, a little bit of a cut because of his performance on the song. Maybe he helped tweak something, but from what I understand, that was Mick Jones from start to finish, and to kind of get in there and get something out of it makes sense because your voice is on it and it's such a huge song. You deserve something. That's, I guess, just looking at it from a practical standpoint. The problem is that the composer is going to have the legal rights to everything. That's what I'm thinking, but it does kind of suck. So the songwriter could say, you know what? This guy did such a great job on the song. I think I'm going to hand over 5%, 10%. And that person's probably going to argue, no, I'm worth 40%, which I don't agree with. But this is just going to keep going. The 1983 hit, Every Breath You Take, has generated more than 2.8 billion Spotify streams. And in 2019, BMI named it the most performed song in its catalog of over 14 million works. As the sole credited songwriter, Sting earns roughly $750,000 a year in royalties from Every Breath You Take. So that is why these guys are all trying to get a piece of that. So anyway, the police have not worked together since the conclusion of their wildly successful 2007-2008 reunion tour. However, Sting and Summers reunited this summer to perform on a new version of the Police's 1983 song Murder by Numbers, led by jazz bassist and composer Christian McBride. So I guess they could probably work together again, but it doesn't look as though it would be a very happy partnership, as it's really never been, at least since Sting decided to say sayonara, right? And that was devastating for a lot of fans back in the 80s. I was one of them, thinking, what are you doing? Sting went on to have a pretty decent solo career, and the other guys, they've worked, but, to have the Police together would be pretty cool. I think it might be a little late, but it's never too late in the world of classic rock, because you know what? People need to be able to waste their disposable income on concerts. How much is a ticket for the Police going to go for? Well, the Police are touring and tickets start at $1,000. Get your gold American Express card ready. That's what would happen. And you'd get a special perk for using your Amex card. And I don't have an Amex card, but if you don't, these credit cards, you should cut them up. Cut them up if you can, all right? And if you're disciplined and you're able to pay them, great. But I, in the past, never had a good experience with these credit cards. It's just temptation. Look, I've got a limit, and I haven't spent it all yet. All right. So before I go, I just want to share this band here again. Double Vision. A couple of people were asking me about it. You can always go back and watch the older videos and then stop it right when I'm doing this. So Double Vision is a band that was doing just Foreigner stuff, like a Foreigner tribute. And they decided to put out some original material, much like Voyage did. They put out a really good album a couple of years ago. And this is pretty good too. So check it out. It's in that wheelhouse. If you don't like that style, then you won't like it. But hey, Foreigner's going to be touring for the next 50 years. So you might as well compose some new stuff. Maybe they'll do some new material with Luis Maldonado as their singer. And that I think would be a good idea, honestly. Some people would not like it. Maybe Lou Gramm could sing on a new Foreigner track. That would be interesting. All right, people. This video, not so interesting. It's just old guys fighting about how much money that they can squeeze out of their success as these songs continue to play on the radio and apparently over on Spotify. Thanks for watching. God bless. Remember, folks, I talk about grace and God, and guess what? God accepts you right where you're at. In the Bible, it says, while we were still sinners, and we're always going to be, here, punchline, we're always going to be still sinners. Nobody I know has stopped sinning. The only one who could fulfill the law was Jesus Christ, because he was perfect and he was sinless, and he took all this on his shoulders for us. So have faith in him, believe on him, and as the Bible says, you shall be saved. God bless. Talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.